Welcome to another conversation with Conversio. I'm your host, Mr. Lee Matthew Jackson, and today we have on the show the one, the only, it's Nick Johnson. Nick, mate, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Glad to be here and talking about subscriptions and all that kind of jazz.
Absolutely. Spoiler alert, folks, today we are talking on how content publishers can maximize their revenue. But first, yes, it is Lego behind you.
Yeah, we got some Lego, some Beyblade, some nice collectors items and all kinds of fun.
So this podcast should really be about Lego, but we are going to be consummate professionals and focus.
That's right.
It's going to be very hard with that temptation.
Yep, super tempting to just break out some Legos here and show you some of the cool things we got going back here, but maybe another episode.
Well, as we forge forth, mate, for the people who don't know who you are, could you give us a little bit of a quick bio of yourself?
Yes. So started out doing web development. It had established a web development agency, and along the way, we're building a commerce platform. That commerce platform, we worked with one of the top 5 domainers in the world. A domainer is somebody who has just collects thousands of domains, and tries to develop them and make businesses and things like that. A publisher came along and said, "Hey, we need you to build our theme, our look and feel, and would like to know if we could set up a paywall as well." Well, we already had this commerce platform, and they weren't going to use our content management system. But as me and another developer got in there and looked at how we're going to add the theme to the service they're going to use, we got this sense that, and this was about 2008, we got this sense that the platform was stuck in the 90s, and we went back and pitched our platform to them. And they said they loved it. And by the way, we have this whole commerce piece here, which we can also help you with the paywall piece, because they weren't doing anything with that in the paywall space or the online subscription space. And so we spent a few months kind of working with them, retooling some things, focusing in on the subscription side of handling, subscribers and the life cycle of a subscriber and that sort of thing. And then from there, for the next 2 or 3 years, we were pitching the idea of this paid content management system. So we had the CMS, we had the paid piece of it.
Yeah.
But everybody that we talked to didn't want the overhead of having to switch to another CMS. They were either happy with WordPress or Drupal or Joomla or some other, custom baked CMS. And it was just like we kept, but they kept saying, but we want the paywall piece, because not a lot of people were doing it at the time. As a service. In 2012, roughly, that summer, we broke out all the pieces and made it into a plugin that would sit on top of any content management system out there. And the rest is history. We end up selling off most of the web agency side of the business and just focused on Pigeon as a brand. We branded the Pigeon platform, Pigeon plugin, as the paywall subscription management tools that people would use to help manage their online subscription business. And along the way, we also started building more tools for companies to help manage their print subscription business. Because they were like, okay, we want to jump into digital, but we also have this whole print subscription business we need to take care of as well. So we started doing building tools like that. The rest is history, and that's just what we've been doing since 2012. That's been our primary focus, for the last 12 or so years.
I love how agencies just naturally kind of find a niche, don't they, over time? So you may have started off doing a whole range of different sorts of sites. You've got your products, etc. You've got a broad mix CMS. You've got this specific feature that's part of the CMS, as it were. But because of demand, because of the relationships you forged, you've now developed this long-term business all around those kind of primary features and that primary audience. In fact, just today I had an offer I couldn't refuse from the New York Times, because I wanted to read up about America and politics, because it's just fascinating me. It's utterly amazing, and there's a whole lot of articles that are behind paywalls on the New York Times, and they're like, hey, let's jump you in on a trial here for 7 days, et cetera, et cetera, and you can read this paywall content. So, I assume in your history, you would have, say, connected with someone like the New York Times, and they'd have said, hey, we have this CMS, we can't really do anything with it, we can't charge for this content, but you'll be able to come in with your plugin and say, no problem, any platform we can deal with. Pigeon works as I don't know, say a layer on top. Would that be a fair summarization?
Yeah, the layer on the top is actually a phrase we use a lot, because another one we use is like, you can carry the whole platform around like a briefcase. We've had some people who, were on a particular CMS, and they made the big jump to another content management system that met their particular needs or niche or whatever. And, they were able to because you think of the subscription business, it really is its own beast. It's its own thing. Managing all that kind of thing, the forms, the calls to action, the communication pieces of it, all that kind of stuff. They were able just to not worry about that, because we were able to carry that over to the next CMS without the headache of having to figure out, how are we going to get this to work? They already were familiar with it. So it's just one less headache that they had, when they were making this jump to another content management system. So yeah, it's abstracted really nicely, and you can carry it from place to place and not have to worry about, the technical overhead. And, our mission as a company is to help content creators and publishers better monetize their content. That's really our focus. That's the day-to-day driving force in our work, is to build tools to help them do that. And one of them is to kind of remove the headache of the whole subscription process.
That's helpful. So for digital publishers, especially today, because it is so ridiculously competitive, there is so much content out there, etc. What are some effective strategies for publishers in this day and age?
Yeah, well, that's a question that could probably take 2 or 3 episodes to answer.
Hey,
but
I'll sit back and just talk. Pick one or two.
So we've developed a lot of experience working with different publishers and that kind of thing over the years. And while we're approaching it from the tools perspective, with that mission in mind of helping them better monetize, we ask a lot of questions like, how's this working for you? What are you doing? And the funny thing is, they come to us and are asking us, well, what are strategies that you've heard other people, so yeah. We've been are currently compiling some reports and some information that we're going to be putting out there that are going to help publishers kind of, what's the basis, what's the foundation, the starting point really for building a successful subscription business, digital, to monetize their. In the early days, we used to say, I used to really push for direct monetization. Ad-based monetization is indirect. You kind of like, you get the views and you maybe get some clicks and you make some money off of it. The big network ads, we won't mention any names, don't make us much money. They typically make more money on like local ads and things like that, kind of their own big things. And we have some services that we often, for managing that we encourage. I now am a firm believer in a nice, healthy combination between direct and indirect monetization. So I encourage people, I say, keep the ads. Yeah. The problem with ads is not the ads itself, not the ads, by themselves. It's the way that they're presented, full page takeovers, trying to navigate all the, if you think of, reading an article as a river, and you're trying to read the article and you're having to navigate all the debris in the river of
That's
ads.
awful. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not just a static ad. It's a big in your face video or, flashing. And that, if you're trying to create a positive user experience, ads were, especially in the beginning, whenever the web was taking kind of over this digital space, or the publishing space, I should say, um, it was overdone.
Yeah.
Because they thought, hey, we don't have any page limits anymore. We could just throw whatever, just see if it sticks. So I encourage publishers when we're in conversation. I say, if you're going to do ads, do it sparingly, and do a combination of subscription. If you subscribe to reduce ads, maybe don't get rid of ads completely, but get rid of the kind of the bigger mass ads or page takeover ads, and just have the ads that are relevant to your audience, more relevant to your audience, like local and regional and that kind of thing. If you're talking about,
it's interesting then. That's exactly what our local newspaper here in the UK does. So we have a local paper. To actually access any local articles is quite frustrating. They've kind of overdone the ads, and I won't mention names. So I'll very often connect to my VPN, which has an ad blocker in, so I can just load the page and actually read the content. So I'm really sorry, local news. However, they do have like a £2 a month. It's not that much. I don't read it enough to reduce. It doesn't say block, but it does say reduce and serve you more appropriate ads. So it's kind of giving you that best of both worlds. Hey, there's the freemium model here. You can access the content. They do overdo the ads, I'm afraid. So they probably need to talk to you. But they also have the ad reductionist model as well. For people who are transitioning from print into digital as well, because you mentioned you're helping people with print management. There are a lot of companies are still trying to balance both. What are the new opportunities that someone from more of a print background should be exploring with digital?
A lot of the heavy lift is on their shoulders to kind of carry the same quality of content into the digital space.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that is scary for print publishers, because they make so much more money in the print space than they do digital as far as ads goes, indirect monetization.
Yeah.
But the scary thing is, like, okay, if we take all of our hours and hours of doing the reporting, the research, and putting this article together, and we put it out online, we lose all the control of that. So they do want to have the confidence that there's a tool that will help kind of protect the premium value of some of their content. I recommend, you definitely want to lead with some free stuff, because the digital space, there's just a sense of like, hey, everything I go online, I should be able to get everything for free. Obviously, that's not, a good long-term solution for content creators. They have to make something. And just leaning on indirect monetization is not good enough as well. We've found that people who are subscribers are much more loyal. I mean, me personally, whenever I pay to subscribe to something, I'm, downloading the app, I'm checking in daily, I'm reading the content. Whereas if I'm just looking for something and I stumble on across a website that I'm not subscribed to, the chances of me going back to there are a lot less likely, unless I'm just really hooked by the content on the site. And then if they don't offer me an opportunity to pay, even though I probably would, if the opportunity is even there, they're losing a lot of money. There's a lot of money that's just on the table they're not picking up. So I recommend that, you got to have some sort of direct monetization, direct subscription model, in a nice combination with some free content that gets, that teases people in, gets them excited about what you're doing, about what you're creating, about what your voice is in the marketplace. Then there's that next level. So that's really, like I said, the lift is really on the content creators, the publishers, but you have to have the tools that allow you to kind of work that fence of being free and not free, and have to, you kind of not tease, that's not a good word, but lead people into, pulling out the wallet and saying, this is valuable enough to me to pay and subscribe.
I mean, so thinking about this, then you've got high quality print publication. You want to bring that online. You want to continue to create that sort of quality. You want to give people access to that content, not to a level. So people who have never read your physical print documentation will go, this is high quality, this is valuable. But then to increase the perceived value, what we should be offering is some form of paid level with some high quality content behind that, because that is going to increase the that increases the perceived value to the reader. It also encourages them, obviously, to give you a little bit of money. That's helpful. But then it encourages them to keep coming back. I know I'm subscribed to multiple magazines online, and because I'm subscribed psychologically, because I paid and I see the email come in that a new article is available, I'm going to go ahead and check that out because I feel like I paid for that, and I need to just go and make sure it's worth a read. And if it's not, that's fine. But it does also lead, and I don't know if this is in your experience as well, me to go the opposite way. I'll find a publication digitally, and I now have absolutely stacks off camera of print magazines that I now get through my door because I started off with the digital, and now I'm also getting print copies because I want to be able to sit down and relax and thumb through. Like Positive News is one of them that I get every few weeks because the news is quite depressing, to be honest. But positive.news, this is not sponsored, but go ahead and check it out, folks. They do like what went well in the world this week. That's my favorite article. But they have a really nice magazine that comes out as well every few weeks, which is lush. But that has been my experience by going, I guess, the opposite way. Rather than finding online via the print production, I've come in the opposite way, where they've put real high quality articles for free available online. I've then upgraded to some of their premium content, and then eventually thought, you know what, I want this through my letterbox as well, which is cool.
I was going to add real quick that, when you have subscribers that are paying, you're creating a sense of loyalty and community as well. The side effect is that the engagement in the ads are higher quality. They're typically, so if you're wanting to take a message to your advertisers, hey, we have 1 million monthly impressions on our site. Okay, that's not near as value as saying we have 100,000 active paying subscribers. The advertisers now are starting to look at that as a higher value metric than, now it's been kind of building that direction for years, but then to say, well, we have 1 million people just coming to their site because, a one-off person coming to the site is going there for a particular reason, like one article. They're going to read the article and get out, okay? Whereas a loyal subscriber, they're coming regularly. And, just listen, when you're driving down the road and you pass the same things every day, my dad used to have a driving route he used to, in a place he worked for. And he'd tell me, he's like, every day, no matter how many months he went, he always saw something new. Mm-hmm. And so that's what ads are. It's something new. And so they start to explore and look around a little bit more because they feel a sense of like, this is, I'm a part of this community.
I suppose the attractive thing there, even if you have 1,000 or 100 paid subscribers, we already have the intention to purchase. We've already proved that these people are willing to part with money for the topic and the subject and the industry that my particular publication is about. Therefore, they are more likely to be people who would spend money further in the industry on other solutions that might meet the needs I have. So it becomes extremely more attractive and very powerful compared to just being able to say, yeah, we get 1 million hits. Because let's face it, even today, we can still buy 1 million hits if we want using a dodgy looking PayPal link for like $20. And it means nothing to nobody.
Yeah. It's a lot of times it's just throwaway traffic. The advertisers aren't getting anything. So having a subscription model in place is a value added pitch to potential advertisers. You're going to get a lot more quality, and advertisers are going to get more bang for their buck. So.
And I've never seen it this way. So thank you very much. If that's already my biggest takeaway from this, because I've very often seen paid subscriptions and paywalls, etc., as get rid of the ads. Whereas in this point, we're saying, hey, let's reduce the ads, but let's serve you with stuff that's actually really valuable. Do you have any examples of publishers who've successfully implemented kind of digital solutions, and what can we learn from their experiences?
So there was a publisher that did a case study, and there's some. I'm going to talk in generalities because some of the research I don't know if they necessarily want attached to their names or not. But I'm just going to talk in generality. We do have a case study of a publisher who has went and polled their subscriber base to see like what would you be willing to pay for content, right? And so they did this. It was so the poll was random. It would come up in different ways. So the audience was not, it was just a different sampling of audiences, different samplings of the same audience.
Yeah.
And he put out 3 different price points, which was very interesting. So, because a lot of times we get questions from publishers about how much do we charge? Okay, this is what we charge for a print magazine. And we're going to still offer this, but we want to offer a print plus digital plan. We want to offer a digital only plan. What are people paying? That kind of thing. Well, we there's a few things, and I don't have the time in this call to really go into some of the all the kind of the strategic points that we suggest. But this was an interesting point that came out of his research. They put out in their poll, they did $295, $595, and $995 to see like what was the interest level in their audience. And out of each of those different polls, the number of the audience, the percentage of audience willing to pay $295 came out at about 5%, 4.94%. The results of the $595 was marginally the same, 5.06%.
Wow.
Well, what floored them, what was shocking to them, was the $995. It came out at just short of 3.5%. So a 1.5% margin between the $995 and the $595, results. Yeah. And so they went with the $995 rate, and it went really well. And they're happy. They were able to get what they needed out of that. So a lot of times, some people I can't tell you how many calls I've been on where publishers will say, let's just start with first month free trial, and then get them in, or maybe the first 3 months $1 or £1 for the first 3 months, and then maybe $5.95 or $4.95 thereafter. There's almost like a trepidation, of putting the subscription in place. But what we've seen work most successfully is launch, especially if you're new to the digital subscription space, you're going from print to digital. Pick a price. Don't be afraid of charging very close. We've had a number of publishers, same price as the print.
Yeah. You're
going to go digital. Some people just don't want the paper or the magazine piling up at the door. They just, want to go digital only. Let them pay, for what they want, for what they want. The value's still there. And then make that for the first few months, make that as what you offer. You're going to get the low hanging fruit. Yeah. You're going to get the people or your power users. They're going to subscribe anyways. They're jumping on board. They love your content. When you start to see the conversions level off a little bit, then that's where you then maybe come in, lower the barrier of entry a little bit, offer a trial, a pound for your first month, and then, $5.95 or $9.95 there, monthly thereafter, those kinds of things.
Or a special 1 year deal, I guess, or something, which
a
is
special 1 year deal. Yeah.
$50 for the whole year, and then $100 every year after, or something like that. Yeah.
Right. And so, this is one method. If you're already offering a soft paywall, doing trials is not as important because you're already giving your content away, 4 or 5 pages a month free or whatever. But if you are more locked down on the paywall side of it, then coming in with, lowering the barrier of entry, offering a month free, offering a month for a lower price point or something like that has done really well at increasing the conversion rates, after you low-hanging fruit. But always, not everybody listens to this, but that's fine. But I've seen most successfully always offer your standard rate alongside the trial. Some people want to just say, no, I went to, I've been looking for another similar content in a vertical of news that I enjoy. And I went to a site and I was looking where to subscribe. And I couldn't do it without a trial. I had to start a trial. I don't want to do a trial. I won't want to. I don't need a free month. I just want to subscribe.
Yeah.
Where I couldn't find it. There's no way for me to subscribe. Let the people who don't want to go through a trial subscribe. So, give the trial, but make it optional.
No, that's true. People do want to just jump straight in. People already recognize the value, etc. So if they want a trial, fine. If not, give them the option. And also don't hide the price after the trial as well. No. I've never quite understood that because I want to know what I'm in for. Exactly. Fine, I'll do the trial, but at least tell me what I'm going to expect. Or fine, I'll do the 6 months at $50, but what am I going to pay after that? Because I want to know, because I want my expectations set, and then I can then judge for the next 6 months. Are you providing me with value enough for me to then pay twice the price, etc.? So, exactly. we mentioned about subscribers and subscriber loyalty. So by paying, they tend to be more loyal. They tend to be more engaged. How can we continue to enhance that loyalty with existing subscribers?
So I'm going to talk about it from tool side of things. Okay. One of the things that frustrates people that we've learned over the years, when we were first putting our tools out, we were learning, we're figuring things out, right? You want to reduce friction in the user experience. Okay. If a person can't update their payment method, like their card you got caught up in some kind of fraud thing, and their card got canceled, and then they have to go and update their payment, but they can't figure out how to update the payment. They go to say, well, I need to update my subscription or something like that, and there's no easy way to figure out how to do that. That causes frustration, and people will often say, well, they're either calling and it's causing more pain on the subscriber services department, because their people are calling in and not using the tools to make to self-serve. So reducing user experience friction. You don't want to have that friction there. So as far as loyalty goes, that's just a component of it. If there's no, I like this thing, look at it this way. If the subscription management piece of it, that's managing the payments, managing their information, their email, the notification, the communication piece of it, if they don't even know it's there, then we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
They start to recognize it's there when they start having friction or running into problems, being able to update their card, or, they're not getting the newsletter they signed up for, or, those kinds of things. But if the user experience is just top notch, they start talking to their friends and their neighbors and saying, hey, you got to check this service out. It's great. So you have to, from our perspective, we try to remove as much of the friction as possible on subscription management side of things, so that your subscribers, it's like using your services like a breath of fresh air. As far as the content side of things, you just got to create great content. If you start, that's a great starting point. If you create great content, even a bad subscription management tool, sometimes they'll overlook that. But our goal is to, again, focus on that part of the subscription management piece of it, the paywall meat piece of it, to gently funneling them into being a loyal subscriber and participant, in your content.
No, that's so true. I mean, as you were talking, number one, your answer actually surprised me. I thought you were going to tell me about competitions and extra premium content that's available to, all this sort of stuff. But actually you went for something that I hadn't really considered, and it is that user experience. And I instantly thought of a platform that I use where my credit card renews every few years, and the last 4 digits are always the same. But the way this particular subscription thing is designed is that you can't delete your old cards. You can only add new ones, and it shows you the last 4 digits of the card. So I've now got 4 of the same card number, but the rest of I don't know which one. It doesn't tell me any other information. There's no way of naming it. They don't seem to be in order. So I have to go through this annoying process of ticking each one until I can check out with the card that works, or re-adding my card again, because I'm not sure if I've actually got the most recent one. And I've actually stopped using that platform because it's just such a frustrating experience. And I've put tickets in and no dice. Presumably that's they're trapped with whomever they're using for that. And they obviously just can't override that, etc. So that's a real frustration. So I'm getting from this, be invisible, as it were. You're the invisible part of the process, where it's super easy for me to subscribe, even like use Apple Pay or whatever it is, to reduce those barriers to entry, to reduce that friction. It becomes something I don't have to worry about, something I don't have to think about. Get me access to the content seamlessly, get me on the lists that I want to be on, the email lists, etc. Don't make it hard for me. Make it easy to unsubscribe from things that I don't need to receive in my inbox. Just give me a good experience along with the good content, and you've got me for life. That's pretty much what you're saying, and you're totally right. That has absolutely been the case for me. With anyone that I'm a bit of a subscription junkie. I am going through therapy for it, but not really. I probably should do. But if I get a good experience, you've definitely got me for life. So moving on to Pigeon specifically, how do you help publishers address all of that?
Yeah. So, one of the things that, as far as the publishing side of things, you know, that's obviously something we don't control, and I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation of the CMS. We have a few who still use that, but we don't push it, because we've been able to really focus on the paid side of things, the subscription management side of things, and really find build on quality product. So we have we cover an array of things that people need to manage their customers. We have a CRM like people management tool. So there's all kinds of ways that you can, if there are issues, we have a built-in ticketing system that allows people to track issues, so that they're able to serve their customers or subscribers better. We have a paywall, all kinds of different ways that you can build access models to your content, and that flexibility is really key because every publisher is different. You have some common kind of cookie cutter approaches to subscription businesses that you can depend on, but in each publisher, there's going to be some nuance that they want to, have different. They want to have, one section that's premium, and they have one section that only applies to one plan, and another section applies to a different plan. And then, the a la carte option where we want all the plans. We have one plan to cover everything. So, if it's a simple business, that's great. But, we have the flexibility to cater to, these more complex models. We have a communications tool. Communication is key. So every event in a subscriber's life cycle triggers a message or some sort of event that creates a call to action. Like you were saying, if you're in the month that a card is expiring, we have an event that triggers a message reminding the person, hey, your card is expiring this month, remember to update your card. Those kinds of things. Those little warm fuzzies, we like to call them, just continue to make it easier to reduce churn, losing subscribers. And so the newsletter tools, so we integrate with other third-party services, like MailChimp, Campaign Monitor, and that sort of thing. But we also have our own, built-in communication platform that allows you to segment and communicate to your subscribers in in meaningful ways. You can use it as a bulk newsletter tool if you wanted to, or if it's just the marketing side of things, you could target all the people who were subscribers but are not subscribers anymore, win them back. So just a whole array of tools that make it easier for publishers, content creators to manage their subscription business, everything from the paywall piece of it all the way through to the registration, subscription, and then the ongoing relationship with their subscriber, and keeping them informed of their status and things that need to keep them a persistent subscriber.
And then how do you work with clients? Because I can imagine, say for example, I have WordPress site. I know I can purchase a paywall plugin at a relatively low cost. I'm on my own. How do you guys work with clients when they work with Pigeon?
Yeah, so we have a grow as you grow model. We do have a percentage model. There is a base minimum fee that we charge, and that's typically $99 a month. And then we have a percentage model that is on the digital only, 10% digital only, 1% on the print. So that's a really big kind of compared to our competitors. We didn't, when we got into this, we didn't want to really infringe on the print space of publishers. Sure. Obviously, we have a lot of, so if any publisher has a print plus digital, they're doing the digital thing as well. Even if there's a physical print subscription, a physical print product delivered, the fee, is 1%. And that's really nice because we know we've seen the trend. The trends are people going more digital, and so we have the 10% model. So that works really nicely. And, we have a more concierge approach where on the setup process, we're very hands-on. There's a really big competitor of ours that we've actually had a number of clients, who have come from that competitor. And the biggest thing that turned them off from this particular solution provider was it was hard to get a hold of anybody. They couldn't, they had some particular situations that come up, and they just didn't feel like they had that personal touch.
Yeah.
And from the very beginning of this, we starting as a web development agency, being very good with support and communicating and helping people out. I mean, we'll get into, and we have on our team, we have a number who are experienced with different content management systems, just in our background. So we oftentimes, like in WordPress, we'll go right into WordPress, help them set up things. We will go beyond to, and even help them do things that are beyond our scope, just because we help them be successful, we will be successful as well. So, hands-on approach is very much a core of our values, as a company. And that has really, endeared us with our clients. And we're going to continue, maintaining that level of quality, because it's like I said, with our model, it makes sense for us to help them, because it's helping us as well. So it's a win-win.
Well, I mean, what you've said there absolutely helps Pigeon to stand out, because if I'm going to trust the subscriptions to my premium content and to build my business on top of something, for me, I would feel scared to maybe trust just a plugin to do it with minimal support. So it's $299, but it's a false economy, because I've paid this one-off fee for a plugin that I'm going to use on WordPress, but I'm kind of on my own. Maybe the plugin developer is a solo developer. I'm not going to hear back from them within maybe a week or so. It starts to get scary. I'm running the server. I'm doing everything myself. If we have issues, I don't know, maybe there's a hack, maybe people's credit card information, or maybe there's issues, whatever that is. If I'm on my own, the extra stress there is horrible. If I'm working with another company like yourselves, where I know I can lean on you guys, you're going to look after all of the complex stuff. I mean, we've not even talked about that, have we? I mean, if I've got to look after compliance, etc., there's a whole lot of hoops there I have to jump through, etc. The amount of stress that I personally can feel right now just thinking about it, I don't think is worth it. Can we actually talk about compliance as well? I mean, you guys must handle all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So let's talk to that in a moment. So just as a segue to that, like with our plugins, the tools that we, that people actually add to the CMS to make it work, we've built those in a way that they have a very small footprint. We transitioned, we migrated a new account over a number of years ago from another competitor. When you install our plugin, it's one plugin. Some of our competitors, they have like 12, 13, 14 different plugins for every new little feature that you want. And, it's a little clunky, to say the least. Whereas our platform is branded and matched to the look and feel of the publisher, but the forms, the security, the privacy compliance, all those kinds of things are managed by us. You don't have to worry about that.
Amazing.
And so whenever we roll out a new feature, when we roll out a new update, whether, we've had, I won't mention the country's names, but we've had a number of DDoS attacks. That's where people keep hammering the server, over and over to bring it down from different countries. And we've rolled out updates to kind of prevent that, to protect the server environment and stuff. So it's an ecosystem that everybody benefits. If you're just using just a plugin, on a particular, you have to then depend upon, different environments and hope that they have things in place that prevent, that from causing problems. Oh, also, credit card testing. We have a lot of people who, like, there's these sweatshops out there where I don't know if it's the right term or not, but just people testing cards, and then they'll try to handle, so we have a number of tools that prevent and stop those kinds of things from happening, different things that we have security wise. And you just don't have to worry about that. You don't have to think about that. That's on our end. So yeah, so the footprint on the plugin side is very small. We handle and that's another thing. So all the the subscriber like polling the subscribers renewals and all that kind of stuff. All the heavy lift of the server processing is on our servers. That's not on your servers or those publisher servers. So that's not, in talking with hosting companies, they kind of like the fact that, hey, they don't have to worry about some of these security risks because we're managing that for them, and they could focus on helping their customers, on the content side of things, and just focus on that without having to worry about all the payment, privacy, security, all that kind of stuff. So we work on that. We work with different payment gateways in ways that, have a high level of PCI compliance and that kind of thing as well. And then GDPR, the UK, all that kind of stuff. The
HIPAA as well.
Believe it or not, we do have a client. Well, they used our platform for a while, and they ended up going a different direction. They kind of stepped away from a subscription model, but we had to become HIPAA compliant, and we do have an option. And I'm not saying this is the best way to go about it. We do have an option that does end-to-end encrypt data.
Wow.
It makes searching and makes a few things functionally not as smooth or streamlined, but
sure.
We have done some things in that space.
Amazing. Well, mate, thank you so much for your time, just sharing with us some of your insights really into, I think if I can do my maths correctly, we're looking at 16 years-ish or more in this space of providing solutions to publishers, helping them get online, sharing what's worked for them, sharing as well how your platform works. So I guess all that's left to do is to say thank you so much. And what's the best way that people can connect with you so they can learn more about the product and obviously have a nice natter with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to pigeon.io, that's where you will find our promotional page. There's a nice little link there if you want to set up a demo call with us. If you're using we work with multiple CMSs. WordPress is the big one. If you use WordPress, just download the plugin and play around with it. In demo mode, you can pretty much have near full functionality until the time you say we're ready to roll, and then you kind of we'll have a conversation, help you figure out a good strategy, and get you activated and get you into your subscription business. And just remember, our mission as a company is to help publishers, content creators better monetize their content. And while we do have we have some great documentation, we have a full API for all kinds of other custom baked things that you might want to do. We're not going to sit here and say, hey, here's the API, here's the documentation, here's the plugin. Have fun. See you later. We'll continue to be a communicator and a partner with you. And hey, if you want to set up a call to brainstorm, models and subscription strategy, and find out kind of what we've learned by having our finger on the pulse of the subscription community, we do that on a regular basis with our publishers as well.
Mate, that's awesome. You hit it here, pigeon.io. Nick, mate, thank you so much for your time. Have a great day, and hopefully we'll speak to you real soon. Cheerio.
Thanks, Lee.